So, regardless of the date, Mother's Day is celebrated around the world as a way of as a way to honor the women who gave us life and the universal traditions and ancestry of motherhood. Um, a big piece of the world celebrates um, Mother's Day today, second Sunday in May. So it is indeed an honor to celebrate Mother's Day today, and um, there is absolutely no reason why I shouldn't be doing it, right? Right. So there it is. So um, I wish a wonderful day today for those of you who are here and those of you who are watching us online. Um, and I know, like the litany said, mothers comes in different shapes and sizes and with different temperaments. And my mother was uh, uh, quiet, peaceful, prayerful, deeply spiritual, but she can also be a great disciplinarian. You know, I grew up in a tribal community, and smacking was okay. I mean, not smacking you to to hurt you, but it was uh, like I care about you kind of smack. Um, and um, she had a very distinct voice. Uh, we uh, we couldn't play soccer on Sunday. Soccer is the only sport I know how to play. Um, we could not bring cards to our house because she thought playing cards were evil, and so we couldn't play cards at home. So she was that kind of disciplinarian. And if somehow we try to misbehave and go out and play soccer or not gamble, play cards, um, uh, somehow, mothers, uh, this extra sensory perception, right, would somehow know that something is not right, and she can probably just, yell from the kitchen like this, and the soccer field is out there, and we can hear my mother's voice. You can probably attach to that, right? Your mother, knew your voice if something was happening out there, or if your mother just called your name, no matter how far you are, that sounds like my mother's voice. But I think um, motherhood is something that nobody taught us how to be, right? I mean, if you want to drive, you have to take some written test. You have to study it. And then you go and take the test. When you feel you're confident and competent enough to drive, you go for driving test. Even though you are nervous, you have to do it in front of the DMV staff, and you drive. If you pass, you get a driving license, right? But in motherhood, there is no test, written test, there is no driving test. You are just called to be a good wife and good mother, right? That's a tough job. Yeah. I don't know how you did it or how you do it, but you have done it, you know. My mother was a village girl, and her mother never allowed her to go to school because her mother told her, why go to school and waste your time, because some guy is going to come and marry you and take you away. And that's what exactly happened. My father was in the British Army, and one day he came home for Christmas and found this lovely woman and decided to get married and took her to military cantonments where she lived with others who did not speak her language, knew nothing about herself. But she learned their language, which is Hindi. She learned how to speak Hindi. And a lot of Indian militaries are Gorkha regiment, and the Gorkha regiments are men from Nepal who joined the British Army as well as Indian military. And so Mom had to learn Nepali. She did not go to school, and so she had to just learn how to read from the Bible, because that's the only book her mother gave her. And so she basically struggled and struggled to read and write by reading her Bible. And so when I was growing up, she would tell us, I don't even know how to solve your arithmetic because I never learned how to do simple arithmetic. And because she did not go to formal school, she had no ability to read and give you some kind of summary or some kind of analysis of the chapter, because she would tell us, because I never went to school. But she stayed with us until we were done with our homework. And she would bring us chai. Chai is Indian chai. It's Indian tea, not British tea. It's Indian tea, chai. And then if she saw us dozing off, she would bring us a glass of water and she would say, go wash your face. Go wash your face and awaken your face to finish your homework. And so she stayed there with us until our homeworks were done. So even though she knew nothing about our task, she tried her best to give us the support that we needed. And with a simplicity of her mind, she raised 9 of us. Yes, we were a platoon. we were blessed to have her as mother. And so I am telling you her story because her story is no different than your story or your mother's story. I read the text about the Good Shepherd because the more I read about John 10, about the Good Shepherd, I see some similarities between the shepherds and the mothers. I do. Because both of them are caregivers. They're both caregivers. Shepherds are out there. You know, we as an American, we really don't know what shepherding is. I was Googling trying to find out about this shepherding stuff. There are over 1 billion sheep in the world today. Can you imagine that? Over 1 billion. And the majority of them are in China. And America only have about 7%. So you need to think about not China or not United States or New Zealand or Australia. We need to be thinking about Jesus' days. Those rugged mountains and hills where shepherds would find ways to locate grazing areas, and after his flocks or their flocks are done grazing on this particular pasture, they would now have to relocate them, herd them to another location, and find them good grass so that they're well fed, so that they're giving milk and giving them new babies, so that sustainability, the vitality and the sustainability was what the shepherds worked so hard to make it happen. And so not only that, if you read Psalms and if you read King David's story, when he was a shepherd boy, Scripture talks about he wrestled with lions and bear. That means the shepherds basically was willing to put their life between the wild beast or even thieves and the animal. They were willing to defend, the animal. It was that kind of commitment they exuded in being a good shepherd. Interesting, isn't it? And so, John chapter 10 talks about, obviously this chapter is about Jesus declaring himself as the good shepherd of our lives, right? That he's trying to use this image, metaphor, to describe his relationship for us or with us. So in verse 10, we read that I want them to have more abundant life. That's what shepherds do. That's what mothers do. I want to give the best I never had. If there is a way to make your life better than mine, then I will find ways to do it. That is the kind of commitment to struggle with children. And in verse 14, we read that the good shepherd says, I know my sheep. They are not just a number or one among many, but the good shepherd says, it's almost like, I know all my sheep by name. Think about that, I mean, when we have animals, we name them. Yeah. We don't call them, hey. We give them a name. I have 2 dogs. The bigger one is a mix. When we got him from the shelter, he was out of proportion. His head was this big. His body was this small. But his paws were big. And we don't know what he was. But he was one sick dog. And I said, what do we name this guy? So we named him Tulu. Tulu in my travel language is big. Because he's got a big head and big paws. Let's just call him Big. And he responds. And one summer, my youngest daughter was with us. She was bored to death. And so I said, why'd you find a dog? So she shopped. And then somewhere, East LA, somewhere, we found a family with poodles. Mommy had given 5 litters. And so we went out one evening and found this, cotton balls roaming around. And one was very independent. And I told her, I think we should pick that one, independent one. And so we brought this little poodle home. What do we name this? What do we name this girl? Well, he's small. She's small. Let's name her Tila. Tila in my language is small. So we have big and small, Tulu and Tila at home. See? So we name our animals. And so I think Jesus is probably saying, I know my sheep by name, and they know me. When I call their names, they know me. And not only know me, but they follow me. Right? That's the kind of very dynamic, caring relationship. And mothers provide that. It's not that fathers are not. But mothers and children have this special bond, right? Right. Because you carried all of us 9 months in your womb. What can be more special than that? Right? The nurturing that takes place. And John is really emphasizing this caringness about the shepherd for his flock. And the whole intent of the goal of it is to care for them. The goal of the shepherd is to care for the flock. And I like the way the chapter ends, at least the thought of how this thought ends. And the ending is, I take care of in such a way that nobody can snatch them away from my hand and from God's hand. Isn't that powerful? Yeah. So it's just the nurturing quality of it. You know, India have caste system, and poverty is rampant, and often lower class women have to come to the city, to the suburbs, to find menial jobs, and they are nannies, they are cooks, sometimes they are drivers. They do whatever the missus tells her to do, and at noon, a little lunch is provided, and she takes this little lunch to the corner in the kitchen, and she will try to eat them. But often, these poor mothers, instead of eating the lunch, she packs it, and she brings them home because she knows there is somebody in the house who is hungry. And she brings this meal and gives to her son or a daughter as if she is not hungry, as if her belly is full. And she smiles at the kids and then say, eat. Be well, eat. That is the kind of care that our mothers gives. Our mothers gave us. And so we are blessed to be who we are today, because somebody was willing to be a good shepherd for you and me. Make sense? Yeah. And you have learned to be a good shepherd for your own children. You have given the same kind of dedication and commitment to your children and grandchildren. It is a profound responsibility to be mothers. And you have earned this day. And I'm glad we celebrate Mother's Day. Hopefully, not just one Sunday a year, but maybe men, husbands, let's love these people. Give our best every single darn day, whether your day is good or bad. That's the way to honor our mothers today. So I don't have a whole lot to say, but that's it. That's just my little sermon today. Love your mothers. Give the best you have.